Casey Rowlett played for the Razorbacks in the early 2000s, and as Ty said a minute ago, spent some time in the Cardinals organization, joins us now. Casey, good morning. I know we got a lot of great memories of your days at Arkansas and out in the sun field in the center field.
Morning, guys. Yeah, it's some good times back then. Feels like it was still yesterday, but gosh, almost 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been thinking back through all these College World Series trips, and you've got one in 2004 that's kind of worked in your memory. What do you remember about that trip and that run up to Omaha back at the old Rosenblatt back in the day when you were with Dave Van Horn's team?
Growing up, that's all I watched. It's all I wanted to do. And then when you get into that situation and the run we had to get there, I think the run we had to get there was maybe the funnest part, because once we got there, we didn't, we kind of got our tails whipped the first two games. I think we were just happy to be there. But that run, getting there with Toops' grand slam and against Wichita State, just all of it leading up. We weren't expected to be there. We were picked to finish dead last that year, and we got on a roll and got hot at the right time, kind of like what you're seeing right now. You see the Hogs are a much better program right now than we probably were back in the early 2000s. But, when you get a team rolling like that, it can be tough to beat.
Casey, I want to stay on that point for a sec, because you just said we were just happy to be there. And we've talked about this week, this team isn't just happy to be in Omaha. They went out and win the whole stinking thing. Have you seen a transition from the 2000s that you were playing to really the last 5 years and kind of the expectation level that's been hiding?
I have. I mean, because it's an expectation now. I mean, you hear the Omahas, it's a real thing, and I think it has started. We kind of got it started and, got people excited about Arkansas baseball again. And, I guess it was the Eibner's group, the 09 group, I believe. I think since then, I think it's just an expectation now. I don't think people are just happy to, I think it's an expectation to win the SEC every year, at least the SEC West. And then to get to Omaha every year, I think that's a legitimate goal that is attainable for these guys. And with the type of talent that they have and the staff, it's an expectation.
And we mentioned you played in the St. Louis Cardinals organization, and I know the facilities now are different from when you played, and the coaching staff has changed. But, Casey, I wonder if you could take us behind the curtain and compare the coaching between Arkansas, Dave Van Horn, and the guys that you played under, and what it was like in the minor leagues, and if there's any comparison or if there's big differences between the two.
There is not the expectations, but the facilities themselves. I went up there this year to look at the indoor, and I was just blown away, at what these kids get to have these days, and the type of support the university is putting behind the baseball program, and it's second to none. Going through the minor leagues, it's not even close. Now, once you get up to AAA and AA, some of the facilities are spectacular, but the lower levels, it's not even a comparison. And on the coaching side of things, it's more broken down. It's more individualized. You have base running instructors that just coach base running, and infield instructors and catching rovers, and and on a college staff, you got maybe 4 or 5 coaches to coach 25, 30 guys. And so you just get the details of the game. Everybody, once you get there, they can hit, they can field, they can pitch, right? They're not there to reinvent your swing or anything like that. They're just there to see it and tell you about it. And it's more about being on your own to try to fix it. They're just there to watch. But at the college level, it's more still, these guys are still learning the game. There's a lot of situations in the game of baseball that can't be coached with just 4 guys. So once you get up into, the pro ball level, it's just more detailed. It's not so much just the overall coaching. It's just you got more guys to help with the details. And I think that's the biggest difference at that level.
Casey Rowlett with us here on the Morning Rush, played for the Razorbacks in Dave Van Horn's first trip to Omaha. I was looking through the media guide and through some of the records, and seeing kind of where you were at in some of the year-to-year records. I found that you did hold the most triples on the team in one of your years at 2. You were tied with Clay Goodwin, I believe it was. But it seemed like every year I looked through during your time, Danny Hamlin, and he still holds a bunch of these hitting records. The Hogs' first baseman and DH. What was it like playing with Danny, who was drafted in the 9th round by the Oakland A's? Because some of his numbers still stand.
Well, Danny was a guy that it's kind of funny because he was from Rowlett, Texas, and I hit right before him. So they'd say Casey Rowlett to bat, and then Danny Hamlin from Rowlett, Texas. So Danny came in as a freshman. He was a big recruit out of Texas, bigger kid, and just a good kid, and loved the game and worked his butt off. And when you can come in and start as a freshman, you're gonna have some chances to break some records. Playing that much baseball at that early of an age, and when you look at some of these freshmen on this team, you're kind of seeing the same trends with some of these guys that are coming in and doing what they're doing.
Yeah, he had 253 at bats, 53 runs as a freshman. That stood as a freshman record until Heston Kjerstad came along in 2018 and surpassed that. So that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of player he was. So when you look at this year's team, and you kind of see the start of the year, and they played Stanford and lost that game 5-0. I don't know what that means now. You played very well throughout the course of SEC play till the last few weeks, and then kind of a dip and came back on. What are the rises and falls, and what changed over the last couple of weeks for this team in your mind to get them back to Omaha? What are the differences now versus 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Man, it's baseball, right? The ebbs and flows of the game, and you get on a run, and everybody's hot, and it stays contagious, and it can go the other way too quickly. I think, to be honest with you, I don't think it was that bad of a deal going 0-2 down in Hoover, and let them reset, let them clear their heads, and then come out and play a great baseball team in Oklahoma State. I think they're one of the best teams in the country for sure, and going and playing that environment and me against the world mentality. I don't think they were expected to come out of that regional with the way Oklahoma State was playing. And then you just get that confidence back. They won a couple games, and the way they won them, I think as a team, that was the biggest part of it. I was sitting there watching those games, and you're on the edge of your seat the whole game, and this is college baseball, and what that can do for a team and confidence, it's a real thing. It's hard to stop once you can get it going like that.
Casey, Tommy brought up Clay Goodwin, your former teammate, who's now the director of baseball ops at the University of Arkansas. And I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you and some other teammates gave him a hard time when DVH had the salad issue. Is that something you guys have messed with him about, or texted him no more salads this weekend?
I think Clay's a good guy. He's one of my good buddies, and I still communicate with him, still keep in touch with him, and I'll just get random texts from that guy at maybe 11:30 at night, just off-the-wall stuff, and that's just Clay in a nutshell. I think Clay being in there is good for those guys, and his kind of personality fits with that staff because Dave's Coach Van Horn's business, right? And Clay seems to think he's business sometimes, but he can still make you laugh and do those type of things. I think that's good for a team as well.
Casey, you've got a combination, so him and then Bobby Warnes, who also helps out. He's a former player. And then you've got Nate Thompson, who came over from Wake Forest. I remember, not Nate Thompson. Matt Hobbs, who came over from Wake Forest. And then Nate Thompson, who's got more Kansas connections than anything. What have you seen with the transition of coaching staffs kind of from when you were playing? We've seen Jordan, Wes Johnson, and others. How have you thought that Dave's assembled his staff and put it together these last couple of years?
Well, to be honest, it's all about recruiting, right? So you got to have guys nowadays that can relate to these kids and get them on campus, and that's the biggest thing because you got to have the guys. If you have the guys and you have the talent, and then you have the facilities and the head guy with the mindset, you got to work. and you put that hard work with the talent that they're getting in here, that's a nice combination to have. But I really believe that from a coaching standpoint and the staff, if you can't get the guys here on campus, I mean, that's the difference. You got to get the guys here, and that's what they've done a very good job of, and the facilities help tremendously, with that. And then once they do get here, success, right? Players that come in and see that these kids are growing from a freshman, and even some of them starting as a freshman, because that's what these kids want to do. They want to come in and play. And I think they've given the younger guys opportunities to do that, and those younger guys are taking advantage of it. And when high school seniors see that or juniors see that, they say, "Hey, man, I can do that same thing and possibly go play in a World Series while I'm there." So it's a good tool. I think they've done a great job in recruiting and getting the kids on campus, and I think that's the main thing.
Now, if I remember this right, you pitched a couple of years at Arkansas in addition to playing center field, right?
No, I played second.
Played second.
I never pitched.
Okay.
I pitched when I got in a pro ball when we were getting beat by 15 runs. They bring a position player in. So that's my pitching days.
I'd read some pitching stats on you, so I was going to ask you, but infield versus center field, and when you watch it today, but which did you prefer in your days? Obviously, center field's where you stuck.
Center field is a position that I loved, but infield there's so much more action. It's you're in it every single pitch. Not that you're not in center field, but I love to turn a double play. That was one of my favorite things to do is make the turn and the transition, but also running the ball down in the gap is something that was fun to do as well. And saving a double in the gap for those pitchers, they appreciate that. Yeah. I know Nick did a lot. Schmidt, he gave up a lot in the gap.
Well, speaking of Nick Schmidt, you work with Nick every day. You're part of the team over at Pascal that Charlie Boyce has gotten rolling. What's it like around the office with Trey Holloway and Nick Schmidt and some of your former teammates?
It's a locker room. That's why I love it. It's a locker room. It's like the old days, and we get in there and compete and battle, and a lot of crap talking going on all the time, and we keep it light, and it's a fun place to come every day and earn a living versus going somewhere that you don't enjoy. So it's a joy to come to work with those guys every day because they all get in there and work hard and provide for people around here. So it's a good team that we got going on over there, and it's a pleasure to come to work every day.
Well, Casey, it's great to share a few minutes and some memories with you in that 04 run to Omaha, and thanks for spending some time with us there this morning on the Morning Rush.
Yeah, no problem, guys, and go Hogs.
There you go. Casey Rowlett, former Razorback, joining us here on the Morning Rush.
Partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.